Welcome to a very special episode of the Spencer Wall Show today because it's bracket time. Brackets start, they stop, what time is it? Like Thursday, sometime Thursday, like just before the first game because March Madness tournament begins this Thursday. So that's why today, Wednesday at 12 noon, we are doing this today with Hudson Alexander. Hudson, how are you doing today? You ready for some?
I'm good.
All right.
Thanks for letting me on your podcast.
All right. Yes, and you will be on a little bit later on in the year as well, so that'll be fun because it's something we already did together already. And we gotta start, and so pretty much what we're gonna do is we're gonna go. It may take a while, but people need to know their brackets, so we're gonna go and we're gonna pick these things out. All right, so this is what we got. UVA. So we'll start with the 116. Just go from the south to the west, to east to the north, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So UVA, UMBC. I don't even know. This is 1 versus 16. Virginia versus whatever UMBC is. Who you got there?
Well, I think that a 16th seed will not be a 1 seed today, or this coming tournament. So I think that it's pretty safe to say Virginia will take the W.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. So now we go to one that's a little bit more contested: Creighton versus Kansas State.
Well, in every March Madness, there's always upsets, right? And I think this is the case. I think Kansas State is a great team. You know, they're averaging more points per game than Creighton. So I think, I just think that Creighton also lets up more points per game to their opponents. So I think that in reality, Kansas State will win.
That does make sense. And here's where this is like I personally see an upset here, but I'll defer to you on this one. Kentucky versus Davidson.
Oh, I mean, I have friends who are picking Davidson, but I think really Kentucky is going to take the win.
All right. I mean, it's always safer. John Calipari, I like him a lot. But then we have Arizona versus Buffalo. What are your thoughts on that?
I personally like Arizona, so I clicked Arizona. I think Buffalo's like not bad, but they give up way too much points. They gave about 75.9 points to their opponents, which is way too much, I think, in any college game, considering that those are the regular scores of the game. So in this one I have to go Arizona.
All right. So then we got Miami 6 seed, and then Loyola Chicago 11 seed. Miami, I mean, they seem to be a little bit interesting, but I don't know how far they can really go. But I personally say Miami gets the win.
Loyola's very good. But, I mean, they're very good. So is Miami. I just went strictly based on wins here, and I just chose Miami.
All right. So Tennessee versus Wright State. Tennessee, traditional basketball power.
Wright State really is, I mean, sure, like they made it tournament, but I don't think they'll make it that far. I don't think they'll make it past the first round. So I have Tennessee here. All
right, one and done. Nevada versus Texas. This is close game here, you think?
I think it's a close game, for sure. Nevada's not bad. You know, Nevada's pretty good. But I think Texas will pull it up. I'm going with another upset. I just think, I'll just have it a lot, and Texas is good. And the seeding this year is actually different than all the other years because they're not doing it based on wins and losses. They're doing it based on, like what kind of opponents you've beaten, if they're good or bad. So I think Texas should be ranked higher than Nevada.
So you have Texas with the win here?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Just want to be sure about that. Don't want to make people getting confused. Cincinnati, they did a pretty solid job last year, I remember. And so now I personally would not be surprised. I'd be shocked if they didn't win against Georgia State.
Yeah, I'd be shocked too. I think really Cincinnati is just a great team. 30-4 is insane, especially in college. So I really think they'll pull the win versus Georgia State because I don't think Georgia State has much experience in this league. In the tournament, sorry.
All right, so Xavier taking on a 16 seed yet to be decided. I don't care unless it's an NBA team, Xavier's getting the win here, in my opinion.
Xavier's very good. Xavier is fantastic. I think they did good before when they were the AC, when they were the 12th seed. They made it far, and I think this year's no exception. I think they're definitely going to get past the first round. especially against their opponent.
All right. So now we got Missouri and Florida State. This should also another close game.
I'm going to pass this one to Jacob Murakami, who's playing.
Oh.
Right here.
Yeah. So, no, I got FSU on this one. So, I'm basically going off the stats right here. Their points per game is like 81.8, and probably their record is 20-11. So, pretty solid team. So I'm going with the upset here.
All right, but that is obviously the place probably where the most likely, because the seeds are the too close. Now we got another 5-12 seed upset kind of dynamic going on. OSU and South Dakota State. Personally, when I see Ohio, I think great sports pedigree.
Ohio State's a very good team. It's really great what they're doing, 24-8. But you have to look at this like South Dakota State is a higher ranked team. So I think if they're going to go with an upset here, this would be where you would pick it. Me, I still picked Ohio State, but if you haven't had any upsets yet and you kind of want one, you kind of think one will happen with here, and you think strongly, I would go South Dakota State.
All right, so that's your upset alert there. All right, I'll personally peg in Ohio State because why not? Because we also did some upsets a little bit earlier.
Well, the more probable thing is Ohio State will win, but I really think South Dakota State could pull an upset here, and I think it's definitely a possibility.
All right, so then we got Gonzaga versus UNCG. I think that's North Carolina, Georgia. I could be totally wrong on that.
You're wrong. It's
okay.
I think it's I don't know. Okay, so basically, in this matchup, Gonzaga, former finals, they went to the finals last year, and I think they'll still be on a roll this year, and I think they're going to keep it. They didn't lose any players to the NBA this year, so I think Gonzaga will definitely pull the win here for sure.
Yeah, and I do remember the one thing I remember because I kind of process everything out and forget it each March and like each April, everything from March Madness like out of my brain. But the one thing I always like about Gonzaga is their head coach, Mark Few. He just kind of sticks out in mind as one of the better coaches out there.
He's one of the best coaches in the tournament, and I think that will be a huge factor in why they win this game and win probably a few games after that. Okay,
so Mark Few with high expectations. They're coming in. Houston and San Diego State. That looks like could be potentially an interesting game. Two Texas teams.
Yeah, it's Houston's first tournament in a while. I think in a few years. So it's going to be cool to see how they handle the pressure of the tournament. San Diego State, I think, is also the first year. So I guess Houston does have an advantage, and I think Houston will pull out the win here.
Apologize, I just said San Diego State was a Texas team. That's my fault. Michigan and Montana. Michigan, both pretty solid in both sports here, basketball and football in college. And
Michigan's a very good team. They always do well in every tournament, no matter what seed they are. And for those reasons, I'm going to say Michigan will take the win over Montana.
All right, so then we are almost down to our end of our second district here, or second conference, I guess. Texas A&M versus Providence, 7th and a 10th seed respectively. This should be interesting.
Texas Providence. Providence is a great team. They beat UNC just a while ago, and I think they're going to continue that. They're going to go off that. They're going to keep playing well. And I think Providence will definitely beat Texas A&M. Even though it is an upset, I think the rankings don't show how good they are actually as a team. I think for those reasons, Providence will take home the W. Just
one of those teams that just pops in March Madness?
Yeah.
All right. There's always one or two of those. And then so now UNC versus Lipscomb.
Yeah. This isn't really a question here because UNC always does well. They always go far. And I think that Lipscomb it's David and Goliath. I think in this case Goliath will win. And I think that for sure UNC will not lose this game. If you guys think this will be an upset, you are 100% wrong. UNC will not lose its first game.
All right, so then we got Villanova 1 seed versus the 16 seed. This team to be decided. I'm personally, just to save time, I hate to be mean to this team that's going to be decided here out of the East, and I'm going to put Villanova through.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
I'm
now
going to give the whole East to Jake Murakami because I think his favorite team is Villanova, so I think he knows his stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I've been looking at the Villanova and the East bracket, and it looks like an easy bracket for Villanova. Villanova's averaging about 78.1 points per game, and they just looked really good, I thought, this whole year.
yeah. All right. So that could be very interesting. Let's see how they fare because they do seem to be pretty strong. There's no names that just pop out other than maybe Butler if I look through this. So the Virginia Tech versus Alabama here. That seems like it's a close team. No really big stickouts. It just seemed to be a close but mediocre game. Who do you have winning that?
I got Virginia Tech on this one. Virginia Tech was really good. Alabama, not really a fan of, and that's who I'm going for.
All right, then we got West Virginia there versus Murray State. Never really heard of Murray State.
Yeah, I never actually heard of Murray State. Well, that's the fun about it. So I'm going with West Virginia on this one. Hopefully their record doesn't show, but they definitely have some good names there, and I'm going with West Virginia.
All right, so then now we move down to Wichita State versus Marshall. I was thinking of Marshall. I think of that movie about the football team. But Wichita State, I mean, you don't hear them. You hear them more as like a 13th, 15th seed there, but there always is. It looks like they're kind of trending a little bit higher this year.
There are always upsets, of course. I know one person, one of my friends, who actually picks Marshall. But Wichita State have great shooters, and great shooters on the team. They're just lights out from three-pointer, and I think for those reasons, those cheap three-pointer shots will be the end of Marshall, and I think that'll be the game. Definitely agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So now we go down to, and it looks like we got Hudson and Jake there at the same time. Pretty cool. Also, we have Florida taking on an 11 seed to be decided still. Florida, though, what do you think about them as a team? Do you think they'll be able to win?
I think Florida's a great team, and their last year they made it to with the Elite Eight, and which was really insane. No one thought that would happen, and they did really good here. I thought they were trying to save them from last year. I think definitely they'll be definitely a team of the team. I don't think they have any experience in tournament. Florida has so much experience; they're just very good, and I think because of those reasons, I think. Okay.
All right, so yeah, Florida with the dub there. And now to Texas Tech versus SF Austin. Texas Tech doing unusually well this year as well, I would say.
I mean, I think me and Jake will both talk about this. I mean, as a whole, right now, you think Texas Tech will pretty much pull out the victory. It's almost like UNC against that Lipscomb, because Texas Tech is such a good team this year. I think that they'll really support a lot of things because of that. They'll pull from the W.
All right. Arkansas versus Butler. Are we seeing an upset here? Arkansas 7, Butler 10 seed?
I'm not seeing an upset here. I'm going with Arkansas, and the record does show that they'll play more games and have a better record, but I'm just going off the stats on this one. That's sure. So I'm going with Arkansas.
I originally chose Butler, and I realized I changed my mind in the end because, I realized that I don't think Butler will be able to pull it off this time. I think Arkansas got this one in the bag, but it'll be a close game for sure. If you want to upset, if you think this will be an upset, I would pick a go with your gut for this one. Yeah.
And then we got Purdue versus CSU Fullerton here to round out this in this region.
It's really no question here. Purdue with the win. I don't need to say anything else, right, Jake?
Yeah, the Purdue was the only exception where Villanova really needs to
up their game.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like the Purdue could go far in this region of the bracket, but so now we move to the Midwest here. First game, Kansas versus Penn. Obviously, I think we know Kansas is going to win that.
Yeah, for sure.
And then now we move to a more interesting one, Seton Hall